All right, we are back live.
So-
John, go ahead with your.
So the food process study, please all try to make it June 2nd. We have a good crowd coming. I think it's very important that we're all there to show the support of this food processing study. Our Fuse Hub event, June 7th and 8th. I know that's right, but it's very important to attend, especially the night of the Senate shows the legislature. It's very important for them to attend as well. It shows that the group's involved. Transmission line, we did have a community meeting not that long ago. We're close to the 60% time we need to go after additional grant funding from the EFC, USDA. There's a whole host of people will be coming back for that. So we'll see a lot of money, hopefully influx into that very soon, or infuse into that. The Village of Dolgeville, BOA, we need help with working the Violet Festival. It's Saturday and Sunday, June 11th and 12th. We're really only going to set up on the 11th. It's for our BOA grant. It won't be the IDA. We're just supporting it because no one from the company can come that day. So right now it's just me and Stacy, but we could really use somebody, a couple of people to help us at the booth, whether it's a couple hours or an hour. It's not there to talk about anything we're doing with the processing facility. It's there to talk about the BOA grant and community updates that we're doing with them. Village of the State Controller's Office, the exit interview is tomorrow morning. They have found some things that we don't agree with. Some of them are best practices. They're telling us we need to claw back. We're never clawing back on these things. It's an estimated amount that we allow for sales tax abatement. It's not a finite amount. Doesn't state that anywhere. We will be fighting them tomorrow morning about that. Unfortunately, they only allow Mr. Boner to come to that. I do not know why. I don't think that's right. I think our attorney should be there since a lot of the policies have been written by him and it needs to coincide with what they want to do, but they don't allow that. I'm kind of sick of them, to be honest with you. We do everything by the book. We have open meetings. We do more than most other IDAs out there. So this I find offensive tomorrow, and we will make that clear to them too. And when they talk about what was our experience, I'm going to say, we had an employee come that was sick, and we had to tell her boss not to be there. During COVID, she comes in sick, right before Thanksgiving. I said, come on, we're not going to have this. That's not jabbing. I think it's something, well, that's your opinion. I'm sorry.
It is my opinion. I'll say, I do, why throw it out? Just,
Well,
thank you very much. We'll see you in 5 years.
Thank you.
Well, I worry about what they're going to try to push with that claw.
All right.
EPA assistant, assessment and RFL grant. So we were awarded another $500,000 from the EPA for brownfield assessment and cleanup programs for phase 2 and then cleanup, and that's countywide. So we received 200,000 a couple of years ago. We finished that with success. The EPA has been very good with us. We just won 100,000 for dual fold to do some other processing there, some other things for that site. We won a CFA for the dual fold site too. We're going to have that whole building scanned very soon for dimensions, and we can turn over those prints to a developer. I had an excellent developer meeting there last week with a firm. One of the contractor for the developer is the guys building the Nexus Center. So we know that they have juice in the area. They also own, or they did the construction. They might even own it too. The hardware building, what's that?
Doyle.
The Doyle, they did that. So we're excited to have them there. They're asking for some additional information. Our lawsuit's moving ahead with Unisys very well. They reached out, they wanted to know what Hanes brand had to do because they bought the new full name. Nothing, all there was done was packaging there, no dyeing, no anything. So they're, but in all honesty, the EPA and the DEC are pointing the fingers at Unisys, which was sparing Unum back. So things look good there. We actually asked for $6 million and we haven't been told that, but now yet there has been another number, and that's a group that I met in LA. So these guys are an attorney's firm from actually New York City. One of them is now in Florida all the time. And they own a firm in, I think it's Maryland or DC, and they do these things no cost until the final, they get 30%. But their side business is going after stolen Jewish art from World War II. And they find it too. They just found a bunch of tapestries and gave them back to them. So they're a very cool firm. And they have huge, you know, whatever, because they'll go after anybody and anything. They have no fear. They're great guys. So we've been having a lot of meetings recently too. And they don't just take any case. We really had to plead our case to get it taken. So it's very exciting because they turned down several. New York's a little tougher than most. But Unisys has money set aside for these type of things. So we're excited about that. And the revolving loan fund grant is also a loan and a grant that we were partnered with Edge that won. It's $1 million. And half of the 500 can be used for grant and half can be used for loan. So say, for example, the developer doing the Twofold property, we could probably give him a $150,000 loan at 0 or 1% interest maybe, and a $150,000 grant. So these are things that we work together with Christian and Mohawk Valley Edge. So we're excited about that too, because once again, we're becoming something that the community is looking at us for brownfields. And we also put in our name to host next year's brownfield convention that was held at Fulton Montgomery Community College, to hold it here at Herkimer County Community College with our event at the Diamond Mine. There's a lot of brownfield guys are geologists, also too. The Hercatini is a big pull-in, remember, from the site selectors. So we think that would be a good spot for that. So we're excited to move ahead with that. We've also had a great meeting not that long ago with a vice president from Burn Dairy. He gave us some great information. Remember, Bob? I mean, he did great with that. And they're not totally against the idea of a convenience store in Schuyler. So working with Delta, we put together some drawings. We're not done yet. Some flybys, some images to show what that convenience store could possibly look like at our site right there from Schuyler. And we're going to send them that, but we're going to do another road study. They're relatively inexpensive, under $5,000. I don't have the number off the top of my head. That we don't need a vote for because it's under 5, but I think we need to update that because of the traffic from Pepsi, especially Wilcor's expansion. Fountainhead's still getting a lot of information in and out of there. And I think that'll boost us up to the level we need to be at closer. But he wasn't opposed at any numbers, just because what we see at the site. Well, Ryan, I think, found another convenience store this week. And then we brought up, what's that, Green Apple one too. So there's a few other ones we want to talk to about it as well. So I think that we'll definitely have that opportunity there. Colucci Trucking is moving forward there. Their geotechnical guys are on site doing soil sampling so they know where to best put their building. We also have Schuyler Wood Pellet does not want the 3.5 acres behind it, but we have other people that are interested. Project Orange Crush is moving ahead. I got a call from Chip down in Atlanta the other day. We're breaking ground. We want everything in place, but we're going to break ground in the spring of 2023. So it's a move ahead for that too. Scanal had a little change in personnel, but they're moving into their building. They're doing some on-site soon too of some geotech. And then the 30-point-something acres we were in contact with not long ago. He said the fish is on the hook. So we're hoping to know soon on that. The 15 acres that Pacemaker decided not to take, we're fine with. We understand they're nervous about the growth. That's good for us. And I wouldn't even have a problem if the additional acres that Fountainhead bought, that they subdivide some of that for them. It still would be a project for us, and it still would be better for the park. They're still looking at that 200,000-foot expansion. I had a call with them the other day. So we're going to see what can happen with that. I also met with Central Bus, myself and Mr. Hollum, and they're not against running a bus route down Schuyler. There's just a lot of moving parts. But in that, the couple days after, Fountainhead reached out about that. And I was on the phone with probably 6 Fountainhead executives talking about that. We gave them the gentleman at Rick Tufts to go contact, or Chris Tufts to contact him at Central. We also presented to Central the Charlestown building to possibly remove that and use that as the bus station. They are looking to move for sure. They thought between Utica and Rome, but they haven't really found a good spot for that. So we think that the Charlestown could be.
How is the bus line going fixed? I still use a lot. Did they get numbers off of that just to?
That's not them, that's Burning Bus.
Yeah, but I'm just. It's used a lot.
It's used enough to keep the route coming. Bernie, so there's two different things about buses. Bernie Bus does not charge the county anything to run the bus systems through the county. It's paid by the user. Central, however, wants to charge 0.25% of the mortgage reporting tax in order to run the bus through. And they wouldn't cover the whole county. They would never go to Newport. They'd never go to West Winfield. So it's like, what are you giving us, the same route except going through Schuyler? You do both sides. And
So whatever the county receives mortgage reporting tax for a 1 year period
every year.
goes, say the market's down and they get the loss.
I think there's a clause in there, if it gets below a certain, you have to pay the rest of the county.
I know the mortgage report, it just.
Well, this year, these past few years, they're fat and
I
happy.
understand it, well, we brought that on originally to.
Because they didn't know how else to get the county-wide support, even though they didn't run the buses. That was the easiest number to take from. And then the county wasn't really spending that money, it was money coming. The budget is how you know how much more reporting tax, you can kind of assume. So when we met with them, they said, it's 2 miles, 2 something to the Schuyler Park. They said, well, we run there, but we wouldn't do any stops. It's like, we're trying to buy some other property there. We're telling them all of that. And it goes right to the end of the Utica line, but they want to investigate. I said, that's fine, but we really need some type of service. The guy who was there before, Rick Lee, he retired. He was not. He retired 10 years before. He should never. He still worked, but he was retired. He didn't want anything to do with it. So I think we have a good opportunity for maybe even their bus station. But they run into Herkimer County now, and they go to Human Technologies, which is probably 0.5 miles in, but they don't consider, they need to do that. They said, okay, well, we need to do. And, what if we stop that other? We don't want to play hard.
You gave them, if that was to happen, if you give them a pilot for 3 years, then Charleston in swap of the bus routes.
Well, first off, they don't pay taxes. They don't pay taxes, and that property isn't collecting taxes either. I think the benefit would be to put, if we wanted tax money out of it, we put solar there. Nobody else is going to buy that. If we don't want solar and we want them there, it increases the property. It looks good, but you'll never get anything out. We might be able to look for a fee of services from them of some kind.
Everything southeast of there is going to be solar anyway.
Not everything, no, because
Where they're remediating,
no, that's not all going to be solar. No.
that's what I was told.
No, somebody lied to you. Only a part of that is Human Technologies, where it'll be solar, not that whole property. Pardon?
I don't think you can build on it.
But they can, yes. Yeah, you'll put a floating solar on there.
So.
So, yeah, so that's where we are. Yes.
Thank you for the opportunity.
We just were informed that they shot me.
I have no problem being on this, but I have waited 10 years for that property to come up for sale, and if there's a conflict, I'll resign before I'll let that property go. The pole barn right next to my house. And the property on Sullivan Road is coming up in August, and my son wants to build a house right next to it.
Just explain this.
She's buying the property next door to her house.
Well, I'm gonna bid on it at
Yeah.
auction,
They have county auction.
and
I know that rule applies for legislators.
It
but
says
also-
it says right in, I brought the rules to Tony, and he says it's a conflict. Because I'm on a board that's
Service in
does
town.
business with Herkimer County.
That goes right back to Kurt Ackerman's beef all the time on why can't we?
Now, you're buying it personally or your business?
No, we're buying the first. I own the house that's on the
Yeah,
property,
no,
and the pole barn that's behind the house was a separate deed. And like I say, my son has land on Sullivan Road, he wants to build a house on, and that shack that's next to it is coming up in August for sale, and he wants to buy that. And I can't take a chance on letting it go.
So let's do this, though. I know maybe it gets crazy priced and you guys decide you don't want it. don't resign until after the auction.
The auction was.
It's next, the 11th,
So let's see what happens.
but I have to, they won't let me buy
They
it.
won't let them bid, John.
They won't let me
Oh, I
bid.
forgot.
And no family members can bid either, so my son wouldn't bid on it either.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's halfway.
Family member?
Yeah,
Well, it
yeah,
says
read
right,
that.
it says right in the
You
book,
read
I
it.
brought it with me this morning.
In your household.
Huh?
Any family member in your house,
Yes.
your son's not in your house.
Well, but it
It
doesn't.
doesn't make it, it doesn't say in
She's
your
fine.
household, it says any family.
So
Some of them.
if that's the case, if you put just a quick.
Every time I go down there, there's another skyscraper.
Like I say, it makes me sick to have to resign for that, we waited 10 years for that.
Oh, no.
To come up
I don't
for
like
auction.
You go back down there.
He's gonna do, I just asked Tony that, and Tony said that's a gray area, me taking a leave of absence for 3 months. So,
Well, we'll talk with him about making sure
Okay,
whatever.
that's.
Talk to
So
Lorraine.
I'm shocked that, no, we hate to lose. I mean,
well, it's the rules and
thank you
regulations.
for.
But you need to do what you need to do. for
I
your
know,
family.
and like I say, we've waited forever for that property to come back up for sale. It puts the farm that was originally in my in-laws' name in 1950 whole again.
So you want us to go there and dig it up?
No.
Just
No,
like
you
we did at the-
did that,
we-
you
we
did
did
that, and
at
I ended
the
up
big
paying
auction.
$200 for a picture that I never hung up.
I got mine in my office.
Put it somebody else's name if you buy it, right? I mean, that's a lot of work.
I know,
Before you
and then
leave,
you gotta
no way
change
around
the
it.
deeds.
There's no way around it. It's hard to do business in New York State.
Take my position, and after August, I'll come back.
We'll see if that's okay. We'll see if that's okay.
Find out from Lorraine. She's the county attorney. Thank you.
Thanks, Kate. All right.
You're staying, right?
For a while.
Well, how did we know? We didn't ever say. You didn't do the last plan.
Stay until I'm-
We would have got her.
Use that on.
I us, we. Wow, I ran this meeting all this time, I asked me, any other questions?
Tim, do you have anything that's-
We don't have a quorum right now.
No, I'm sorry, we don't, yeah.
I think I know.
Oh, we're now anyway.
Who does the oath? It just. That's for the town. Right, your right hand. No. no.
Your meeting's done anyways. You lost your quorum.
No,
I don't need it. This is
One,
just-
2, 3, 4.
Oh, you got 4? Oh, yeah, I forgot. Oh,
Hey, you just sit back there.
I'm just gonna see you shut up.
Yeah, the county.
You swear.
Yeah.
You swear to the- All right.
That'll cost you too.
Watch that smell.
You're buying.
You know, I
I don't think it is. You gotta go see the girl.
don't- Yes. No,
The
why would
meeting
they
is
do
being
that?
recorded and everybody's different property.
We gotta return.
You're gonna be great.
All right, I need a motion to adjourn. Dory, Mike. Discussion. Okay, right.
Thank you.
Oh.
So when we went to Cope